That's one thing that I really miss, Ryan, about iRacing. I wish they would scan in more victory lanes.
Yeah, it would be, obviously it would be a small thing to put in, but it would mean a lot to a lot of drivers.
You know, it most certainly would. We are done with qualifying, and that is going to bring us to the grid for 150 laps of Horizon IndyCar Series racing here at the Phoenix Raceway. Ryan, I don't think it's going to be a surprise to see who is on the pole.
Well, not a surprise at all to see Alex Miller on pole.
It most certainly is not. 188.291 miles an hour is the speed. Andrew Surwack will start alongside. You're looking at Gary Lovern. He'll have Chris Stouffer beside him in row 2. Nate Fields, Matt Wagner, row 3. Mark Cohn, the Watchman, makes an appearance. He'll start 7th with Yari Brubaker in 8th. Jeff Heisong and Micah Mixer will roll from 9th and 10th. In 11th, Mason Mitchum, then Hugo Gallas, Louis Busa III, and Joseph Morales. A 14-car field, short field tonight. Busa and Morales did not take time. And Ryan, that is not abnormal to see a short field later on in a league season, is it?
Yeah, not at all, especially on the short ovals. Like, it. While I enjoy racing on the short ovals, some people find the experience to be frustrating, especially if your wrists are not up for it.
Yeah, that is something that we can talk about here in this race. We're going to try to get the paint downloaded on Mason Mitchum. For whatever reason, his did not show up, so we'll reload Trading Paints out there for everybody out there and give Mason and the Votive Racing League team their due. They're starting to pop. But it's one of those where with modern equipment, Ryan, these short tracks can be very tiring.
Yeah, because especially if you run with a realistic level of force feedback in the IndyCar, where in real life these cars don't have power steering, it takes a lot of effort to do that repetitive motion of just lapping around a 1 mile track.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, just how physically demanding this track is. If you've got a modern semi-cube, something like that, Fanatec, podium setup, you're going to be very tired after this race. I know that anytime we come to Phoenix, Iowa, Gateway, I have the podium set. It is, Ryan, it's all you want for 150 laps around a place like this.
You could tell why the race length is what it is in real life, because I could not imagine having to actually sit in the cockpit.
Do want to give a shout out to Lithfox, Shane Coker, everybody in attendance. I understand there are some issues with YouTube this evening. Hopefully you guys can see and hear us. Lith, give me a thumbs up if you can hear us. I know there were some audio issues earlier. Seem to have maybe got that fixed, but do keep us informed out there, and do appreciate your time and patience. Do want to welcome everybody. This is the Horizon IndyCar Series on P1 Broadcasting. We're getting ready to have a start. It is round number 10 of 13. Alex Miller, by the way, your pole sitter, is your runaway points leader, 341 to 267 over Matt Wagner. Hugo Gallows with 257, Daniel Drazzo 255. Lith Fox, who is in the crowd tonight but not in the race, is 5th in the point standing. So Lith, you need to get out here and get in a race car. Hurry while you still can, right, Ryan?
Yeah, there's still you'll be a lap or two down, but you're still in it.
Green flag, green flag.
Barney has the green flag in the air. This 14-car field streams under the green light, and we are racing here at Phoenix. Away they go, and already Alex Miller has jumped out to a lead, and Gary Lovern is bidding for second, Ryan.
Yeah, and the way this track is configured with the start, after what we would traditionally call 1 and 2 here, it feels like you're just in a pile of cars heading to new turn 1.
You are, very much so. Andrew Surwatt glances off the wall. That's going to open the door for Chris Stouffer. And Stouffer, he's going to run into second. He's already made his way around Gary Lovern. Lovern has fallen back into the clutches of Matt Wagner. And we are already at lap 3. This track, the laps, once you get going, 20 seconds a lap, this race will disappear in terms of lap times.
Yeah, and it feels like you have your foot down most of the way around the track. The only real corner is turn 3.
Most certainly so. Alex Miller, fast lap after fast lap. There is a huge advantage. We are watching the battle for fourth. It's Gary Lovern. He's got Matt Wagner, Yari Brubaker, and Nate Fields in close attendance. And Ryan, Yari's going to look to the high side of Matty Wagner through turns 1 and 2, proper turns 3 and 4.
It's sometimes hard to parse out the battles because usually there's always at least, 4 cars, 2 cars side by side at any point during the race.
Micah Mixer, he's going to look to the bottom of Nate. That's Micah Mixer looking at the bottom of Nate Fields. They're behind Matt Wagner, and they've got Mark Cohn in very close attendance. Again, do want to thank everybody. For joining in. We know that there have been some problems with YouTube this evening, and so we're just trying to roll with it the best we can. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us. It is a Wednesday night. It's a doubleheader tonight, Ryan. You got the Formula Indy Series on here in about 7 minutes as well.
Yeah. Packed schedule tonight. You're definitely getting your fill of IndyCar.
Most certainly are. We're going to hop on the roll bar with Mark Cohn, and there you see what Mark Cohn sees more or less. It is rush hour traffic here in Phoenix. Cohn riding along in the 9th spot, just trying to really hunt for any clean air you can, Ryan.
Yeah, because you're turning for so much the lap, you want as much downforce as possible, and it could feel like you hit a wall anytime you come up on someone's rear wing. Sometimes the best strategy is to simply just drive where they are.
Yeah, there you go. And you see Cohn, he's shading those cars in front of him just a little bit lower, trying to keep clean air on the front wings of that number 39 machine. And Ryan, that is huge. Tire wear here at Phoenix is always a concern, especially the right front. And I'll tell you what else is a concern. Once the pressures get built up, and it takes 15 to 20 laps for that to happen. It takes about 15 to 20 laps for that to happen. The exit of what is now turns 1 and 2, which is old 3 and 4, that's really the only part of this track that was not reconfigured. The corner they're negotiating now, as you watch Micah Mixer get around Nate Fields, there's a bump over there as you get onto pit lane, and as the tire pressures get built up, that can unsettle the race car, and you can very, very easily go for a ride.
Yeah, it's like when the tires do get up to temperature, the pressures are building up. It doesn't feel like you have less grip, but the tire's on edge, where it's very sensitive to any change in vehicle attitude, to use a technical term.
Yeah, and there is, like I said, if you exit low over there, there is a bump, and it will turn you loose in a hurry. Do want to point out that weather conditions, well, Ryan, it's the desert. 79 degrees in the air, 113 on the track. Not much wind and not much humidity either.
Yes, in some ways it is ideal conditions considering the location.
It most certainly is. We are under 90% fuel. We are watching the best battle on the track. Matt Wagner seems to be the jam car. He's got Micah Mixer and Yari Brubaker all over that number 6 machine. Brubaker is going to go by on the high side, Ryan, and he will be followed by Micah Mixer. Now, the top through turns 1 and 2, or what is turns 1 and 2 now, is the preferred line, more or less, is it not?
Yeah, because you can carry so much more speed on the exit.
Absolutely. Do want to thank everybody for their patience with YouTube being updated today. A lot of the streams have been broken. It appears as though people are finding us, Ryan. The view count's going up, so we'll take it. If you haven't already done it, make sure you smash the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel. 408 as of today, Ryan. 1408. That is incredible, and we want to thank all of our loyal fans. Watching Yari Brubaker mix it up with Micah Mixer. The battle at the front really is pretty stable. The front 5 have a lot of distance between them, but the battle at the back of this field is pretty furious.
Yeah, because it seemingly, we talked about the drivers who didn't qualify at the start of the race. They're working their way up through the field, and this is one of the few mile tracks where it's really easy to get around someone if you have that speed difference. There are places where you could always get a move done. Again, if you have that overlap, that delta to just simply outpace someone.
And the setup here seems to be conducive to that. You know, I was running around here just for some comparison or for comparative purposes, Ryan, in on the Indy Alliance Phoenix Open setup, and I was lapping the track. I was lapping the track faster than the track record. These guys are about half a second off of that right now. They're running around 20.2, 20.1, 20.3 seconds back in the pack. I was running around at 19.2s, 19.3s without too much effort. And so, you know, in an open setup car, this track can be very frustrating because it's just, you pile on the downforce, it's flat out, and it's really difficult to make a move. But it seems as though the setup here is conducive to making passes, and we're seeing that happen. Luis Busa all over Hugo Gallas. Busa to the bottom, Gallas to the top. Busa's going to have to back out of it. But Ryan, we're seeing guys able to make moves here.
Yeah, where either people get a good run off the corner exit, or they know that they can hold the car wide open at certain parts of the track. It just opens up opportunities for the better skilled drivers, so to speak.
Look at the run Luis Busa has on Hugo Gallas.
To use every bit of the car to get ahead. Oh.
I thought for sure they were gonna come together there. We were on board with Busa, but that's the problem you run into if you're Luis Busa. He made a wild run, had all the momentum. He's going to have more of it here off of turns 3 and 4, down through the dog leg. He has a huge run, but that's going to stall out because, again, in this particular setup, the top is preferred through turns 1 and 2 here at Phoenix.
Yeah, the top is preferred at 1 and 2, and it's flipped the other side of the track. So it's, if you're side by side with someone, your move has to be decisive or you're not going to get it done. Just end of story, which you kind of like to see. It doesn't put the leading driver in a position where they're the sitting duck. They can defend their position if they're fast.
They can, and we're watching on board with Micah Mixer. You're going to see him line up Matty Wagner here. He's got to lift out of it. Wags didn't quite go all the way up to the wall. Mixer thought about making that move. He did not, but Micah Mixer on the charge. And if you look at Micah Mixer, he's one of those guys that qualified toward the back. He started 10th He's up to 6th, and he is looking to crack the top 5 here on Matt Wagner. He's closed down over a second on Wags, and he's running that high groove, Ryan.
Yeah, the thing about that high groove, if you drive it right, if you don't lean on the throttle too hard, you can use it to save your tires.
You most certainly can, and there's another thing that you might be looking at saving, which is the fuel. Normally a fuel run here at Phoenix would be anywhere between 50 and 60 laps. However, we are on a 90% tank, Ryan, and so these guys are going to have to save some fuel, we think, in order to make this a 2-stop race, and we are already more than halfway through that first stint.
Yeah, and it feels like we just threw the green flag. It does not feel like we're approaching lap 40.
It does not. Micah Mixer lost a position Matt Wagner got past Gary Lovern, and so he has reached out and raced away from Lovern and Micah Mixer, and Mixer now trying to get by Gary Lovern. That's allowed Jari Brubaker to creep into the picture, so this is 5th, 6th, and 7th. Wagner has gone away a little bit into 4th. There's Mixer. He's going to get to the high side of Lovern. He'll make the move. And Ryan, I got to wonder, are some of these fellas saving some fuel maybe? Being a little bit cautious here in the opening stages. Hugo Gallas likes to run long. He's dropped back to 10th spot. There's Hugo. He runs long behind Mark Cohn. Louis Busa, the third, has dropped his challenge. You think maybe there's some guys saving some fuel out here, Ryan?
Yeah, like if I were in their position, I'd be saving fuel just to make the last stint easier. Because if you could stretch out a run now, that means you could push harder at the end and not have to worry about saving at the end, because you made that last stint just a little bit shorter.
It does. Now, one thing I do want to point out is we'll flop back to the lead here. Give Alex Miller his due. This is Miller. This is Alex Miller running along, and that's what he sees off his gearbox. You got Chris Stouffer 2.2 seconds back, and then from Stouffer it's nearly another 2 seconds back to Andrew Surwack in third, and then another 1.5 seconds back to Matty Wagner. So these cars are starting to get stretched out, Ryan. But I was going to point out that Alex Miller has fallen off nearly 0.7 of a second from his outright best lap. Fastest lap of the race, 19.731, which is pretty much on par with the track record, just a shade faster that was set by Tony Kanaan in 2016. He's up to 20.444 on his last lap around, and so Alex Miller has lost nearly 0.7 of a second. You may be able to run a little bit longer on fuel, Ryan, but I don't know if you necessarily want to.
I mean, in the heat of the moment, in the cockpit, I can never tell when running too long is a detriment to my race overall. Like, the lap times get too slow. I kind of just go for it, just operate on vibe, so to speak.
Yeah, watching Mark Cohn go through, he's got Louis Busa the third going around him. There's pros and cons each way of it here. Hugo Gallas glances off the wall. That might be a little bit of net code there, Ryan, but we're going to head back. Gary Lovern and Nate Fields, this is 7th and 8th. Might be the best battle on the racing surface at the moment as the field kind of gets stretched out here. Do want to point out Joseph Morales is about 5 seconds from going a lap down. And that's the calculus, right? You know the car's slowing down. You can feel it. You can feel a difference in 0.7 of a second a lap. At least I can, right?
Yeah.
So you know the car's slowing down. But it's almost one of those deals where how do you think the race is going to play out, right? If you short pit, you're going to be faster as we get to lap 45. You're going to be faster in that short term. But if there's a caution flag, boy, at this place, you are in deep trouble. You're going to lose 2 laps, at least making a green flag pit stop here, Ryan.
Yeah, I think it's you sort of have to play it by ear, where you run it like an F1 race. You do what the guys around you are doing. If you think that one of your rivals is going to undercut you, yeah, then you're going to have to come in. If they're staying out, you stay out.
Well, and the thing is too, watching this battle between Luis Busa and Hugo Gallas. This is 9th and 10th. Busa has been steadily climbing. He started last in this one, Ryan. Do want to point out Alex Miller's lead is slowly, and I mean slowly, dwindling. Christopher has been cutting into it 0.2 to a tenth a lap. It's down to a second and a half. He was up over 2 seconds earlier, but it's coming down slightly. The thing for Alex Miller, if you're him or Christopher, you can run longer just by virtue of having that large lead. We've already got Micah Mixer on the pit lane, so he's the first one to flinch.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he won't be the last.
Oh, I'm sure he won't be either. Mark Cohn goes around Luis Busa. Yari Brubaker has brought his car to pit lane. So Yari is dividing the race into thirds. Meanwhile, this man right here, Christopher, is actively catching. He is actively catching Alex Miller. It's down to 1.4 seconds from nearly 2.5 right on board Christopher. He and Alex Miller are both going to pull on the pit lane. And that's pretty much going to draw the whole field in here. Here comes Surwack. He was running third. Gary Lovren is going to make his entrance into pit lane. And just kind of keep it here to see who else comes. That's going to hand the lead. There comes Matt Wagner. I was going to say, that's going to hand the lead to Matt Wagner, but it doesn't. It would hand the lead to Mark Cohn, except he's coming in. Mason Mitchum is going to be the long runner. He stays out, Ryan. So Mitchum is going to be credited with a lap led here. He's the first one to do so other than Alex Miller. And so it's Mitchum and it's Mason Mitchum now, the sole runner. Luis Busa has also pitted. And if there was a caution to fly right now, Mason Mitchum would be a extremely happy young man.
Yeah, this is normally, especially when we've had such a long green flag run, the first real nail-biting section of the race where you just want to get through this pit cycle without any incidents because a yellow is the ultimate wrench in the works.
It most certainly is. Now, Mitchum has pulled it on the pit lane, and so Alex Miller has streamed past and back into the lead. We'll keep the eye on Mason Mitchum and show you exactly what he loses. He has not yet made it to his pit stop. It is a long pit lane here, nearly half a mile long. Mitchum pulls it in and stops. Alex Miller goes past now for the lead. Here's Mitchum, but he is almost going to come out a lap down, Ryan. There he goes. Mitchum is going to re-enter the track. 12, 13. He's going to wind up 3/4 of a lap down from having stayed out that extra time. Alex Miller last time through 19.940, by the way, and there he is. Micah Mixer is now all over the back of Andrew Surwack, and this is for third. Mixer gets the position, by the way. Do want to thank everybody for joining in. You've got Murph, you've got the man, the myth, the legend, Ryan Eric King. We are watching the battle for third here at the Phoenix Raceway. in the Horizon IndyCar Series. Event 58 laps down of 150. Alex Miller, the points leader, leads it over Chris Stouffer and these two, Micah Mixer, Andrew Surwack. Matt Wagner is in fifth. Yari Brubaker, Hugo Gallas, Gary Lover, and Jeff Heisong, and Louis Busa III. Round out your top 10 if you haven't already done it. Make sure you smash the like button on the video, ring the bell, and subscribe to P1 Broadcasting. Be notified of all future live iRacing events like this one. Just started, Ryan. We've got the Formula Indy Series. Now that's a fun deal, isn't it?
Yeah, like it. Yeah, because it is plenty of action.
It most certainly is. It's IndyCar cars, but they run it to Formula One rules. They are at the Chicago Street Circuit today. And then next week, they go to Homestead, Miami, which that series only runs, it's 12 races. They only run 3 ovals. Auto Club, Homestead, and Indianapolis are the 3. And so if you're interested in that, you can toggle between us and the Formula Indy Series here on P1. Micah Mixer runs along in third, and he is catching both Chris Stouffer and this man, Alex Miller, and they have started lapping people now. Mark Cohn is the car that you see out the front of the leader, Alex Miller. Mark Cohn ran well inside the top 10 earlier in this race. He is back in 13th spot. He's in danger of going a lap down, Ryan.
Yeah, that's, the nature of short track racing in IndyCar.
Whoa, we've got caution. Caution on the speedway. It is Andrew Surwack has found the wall on what is now the back straight. Caution is on the speedway. He had been battling with Matt Wagner, and I'm gonna hazard let's watch here. Surwack, he's up against the wall, coming off the dog leg. Wagner underneath. Ryan, that almost looks like a case of too much weight jacker on corner exit. He'll nose it into the wall. Caution falls for the first time on lap 65 of 150. We're going to run that back one more time, and we'll put it on the roll bar of Andrew Surwack. Watch the hands here, Ryan. He's up in that second lane, and it just gently steps out until it can no longer be controlled. Thankfully, nobody got into him. That's Yari Brubaker going past there. But Yari Brubaker, as well as Nate Fields, did a tremendous job missing him. And when a car is set sideways in the middle of the track like that, it can really be a difficult situation. Surwack headed for pit lane. We also have Nate Fields, Jeff Heisong, Matt Wagner is going to stay out. So Heisong, let's see. You've got Surwack, Louis Busa, I see Jeff Heisong. They're going to come to pit road here, and that's a smart move for Surwack. He's going to be able to take his fast repair and get back out onto the racetrack. For these other guys, they make a pit stop here, Ryan. They're going to be able to elongate their final or their second stint, and either do one of two things. They don't have to worry about the severe tire fall off at the end, or they can run a little bit longer, Ryan.
Yeah, I would just, reset this middle stint and just run as long as you can and do that last stop and just go flat out to the end.
Most certainly so. We are looking at Alex Miller. We're going to climb into the crowd, and that's where we'll watch the restart from. Getting ready to roll here. Lap 67 and 150, and that was a handy caution, Ryan. Just about halfway. It's enough to get everybody a break, get a drink out of your water bottle, and away we go. Headed for the green cactus. Do want to thank everybody for joining in this evening. You've got Murph, you've got the man, the myth, the legend, Ryan Eric King. We are live for the Horizon IndyCar Series at Phoenix, 150 laps. That is the historic distance, by the way, here, Ryan, is 150.
Which is short for an event that's been around for this long. You see a lot of 250s, 300s, not a lot of 150 milers.
So the original races here were named, the original race here was named after, we'll give you a bit of trivia, Ryan. The original race here was named after whom? Do you know?
Oh, I wouldn't know off the top of my head. The only race I know that's named after a person off the top of my head, traditionally in IndyCar, is obviously the Rex Mays Classic in Milwaukee.
This one very similar to the Rex Mays Classic. I'll give you a hint. He's from Phoenix, as we watch Alex Miller. He stretched it out to a second over Mason Mitchum. Chris Stouffer. Stouffer is the first car on tires. Miller and Mitchum did not stop. Everybody else has strapped on new boots. And so there's Chris Stouffer. He is the first one. Mitchum opted to stay out for the track position, and Chris Stouffer just about smacks the fence. I'll give you 3 hints. He's from Phoenix. The person who the original race here is named after is an Indianapolis 500 winner.
Okay, that narrows it down.
And a USAC national champion.
So, yeah, they won the national championship. They're a 500 winner, and they're from Phoenix. And they would have had to do both in an era where they'd done it before this race was founded. So it'd have to be like 50s or 40s. I would say, is it Jimmy Bryan?
The Jimmy Bryan Memorial was the name of the original race. I didn't want to make it too obvious, so I did not include the clue that Jimmy Bryan was also the winner of the original Race of the Two Worlds in 1957. So not only did he win at Indy, not only did he win at Indy, not only did he win the 1954 AAA, 56, 57 USAC national championships, winner of the 1958 Indianapolis 500, also the winner of the original Race of the Two Worlds at Monza. So how about that?
Yeah, that was definitely a short-lived but an eccentric event that you wouldn't really see in modern motorsport.
Not only did Jimmy Bryan win the 1957 Race of Two Worlds, he was also entered in 1958. Those races were run in heats, and Jim Rathman was declared the winner of the second one. So Rathman also an Indianapolis 500 winner. Jimmy Bryan was classified as second in that race. Of interest, Jimmy Bryan, by the way, Ryan, as we continue to watch Chris Stouffer, Micah Mixer has worked around him. There's Mason Mitchum. He runs second. Alex Miller is your lead. The closest battle on the track is Matt Wagner and Chris Stouffer. This is 4th and 5th. Wag's going to work to the inside. Have you ever seen the blonde exhaust special in the museum on the floor, Ryan?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so I've got a challenge for you. If you go to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum and you see the Blonde Exhaust Special, the Sally, right, winner with Sam Hanks in '57 and with Jimmy Bryan in '58. You'll see the car is up. The interior of the car is upholstered in what would have been brown leather. It's now red, but it was upholstered in brown leather, and the car itself, Ryan, has 3 loops sewn into the upholstery about right above where Jimmy Bryan's left thigh would be. You know what those 3 loops were for, Ryan?
Pull him out of the car. I don't know.
So Jimmy Bryan very famously raced with back in those days, open-faced helmets, right? And drivers would do a lot of different things to keep their mouths moist. And so they would do everything from Richard Petty famously chewed on a towel. Eddie Sachs had a lemon peel that was draped on a shoelace around his neck. Different drivers had different methods. A lot of them wore handkerchiefs and chewed gum. Jimmy Bryan chewed on a Cuban cigar. And so his only request of George Sally when asked to drive that car after Sam Hanks had stepped out of it was to have those loops sewn into the upholstery to hold his cigars. And that was the only change that they made on the original Roadster from 57 to 58.
Oh, that is certainly a way to fight your face being exposed to the wind.
I don't believe he did that at speed. I think he only did it when the yellow light was on. But Jimmy Bryan, most certainly, that was his trademark, was chewing on a cigar. He was killed in 1960 in a champ car race at Langhorne, so the big circle in Pennsylvania that was so deadly. There were also 2 drivers killed that day at the Belgian Grand Prix, which makes it the 1960 Belgian Grand Prix day the one of the most tragic in motorsport history. Chris Bristow and Alan Stacey were the two drivers that were killed at Spa-Francorchamps that day. Barstow went offline at Malmedy while he was battling for 6th, and then Alan Stacey was hit in the face by a bird. Which you don't think about that, but that's one of that was very common in motor racing, and something that IndyCar drivers don't have to worry about today because of the aero screen. So there's your history lesson.
The aero screen and circuits today are so, I wouldn't say isolated from nature, but there's so much. The tracks are so much wider. There's so much fencing around the track that you don't really see birds just hanging out by the racetrack anymore.
Yeah, I was gonna say you don't see that much anymore. Although I can recall Dale Earnhardt Sr. Daytona '91, I believe, hit a seagull leading the Daytona 500. Big welcome to Ryan O'Donohue, one of our AMA regulars, tuned it in to watch Matty Wagner and some of the guys that he normally fights with in a pick-em-up truck on a Friday night. There's Wags. He is running 4th. Mason Mitchum is 3rd. There's Mace. Micah Mixer has gotten by into 2nd, and Mixer is starting to gradually reel in this man, Alex Miller. Chris Stouffer is 5th in the 40 racewear machine for Jim Herrick. Yari Brubaker runs along in 6th. There's Yari in his familiar 89. Hugo Gallas for the Votive Racing League is in 7th spot. He is being chased by Louis Busa III in 8th. There's Louis in the City Chevrolet colors. Then you've got Gary Lovern for the Votive Racing League. He's got Jeff Heisong in the Dark Horse machine. Immediately following him in 10th, Andrew Surwack had some trouble earlier. Nosed it into the fence. he is 11th. Mark Cohn, the Watchman, runs along in 12th. And Mark Cohn, that caution saved him, Ryan. He was about to go a lap down. Cohn is now 12th. Nate Fields is 13th. Joseph Morales is 14th. And there's Joseph in the number 60. So Shane Coker, Ryan, wants to know who was the better IMS tour guide for Jesper Orman when he came to town. Was it me or the IMS tour guide?
I'd probably guess you, because I assume there are some things the IMS tour guide isn't allowed to talk about.
You know, it was funny. We did a lot of things. So Jesper Orman, obviously the Swede, he was in Chicago and he had a day off on Wednesday last week, and so we were off here, and he was going to rent a car, and I, he was asking me about renting a car, and I said, Jesper, I live less than 100 miles from Chicago. If you want to go to the racetrack, I'll come get you. And so I drove over to Chicago. We drove down to Indianapolis and spent the day. It was funny because one of the museum ladies that works there, younger gal, they were working on a scavenger hunt for like the kids, for like some of the youth things that they do there, Ryan.
No.
And she was having to think about the answers, and I was giving her the answers from memory. As Mark Cohn pulls it onto pit lane, we are in that time frame where we are ready for green flag stops. Alex Miller and Mason Mitchum are going to have to come to pit lane here very shortly, and Alex Miller's lead has all but evaporated. It's down to a second. You can see Micah Mixer in the frame there, and you got to wonder how this is going to play in terms of advantage. Alex Miller is going to get the short pit. Micah Mixer is going to be able to go a little bit longer, but his tires are going to be fresher. You wonder at 52 laps in, is Alex Miller trying to save as much ethanol as he can to try to make it as long as he can, kind of just trade space for time, Ryan?
Maybe, but you're at that point where track position is going to be key, especially heading into the pit stops, where yes, you want to make this stint long, but you also don't want to just give up the position now. You want to try to hold it through the stops.
We'll go ahead and pose the question: who at IMS owns the parking space labeled 20? You know the answer, Ryan, so you're not allowed to answer the question. Who owns the parking space labeled 20 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway? It's a little known fact. I know you know it. But.
Yeah.
I'll give you a hint. It's really close to the pagoda, if anybody knows the answer to that question. We are awaiting green flag stops. Mark Cohn was the first to pull it onto pit road. So far, nobody else has flinched, Ryan. The lead has come down to 0.7 of a second for this man right here, Alex Miller, who's being chased by Micah Mixer. And really, this is the story. When is Alex Miller going to stop? Here he comes, 57 laps into his current run. He'll make 58 when he crosses the line. It is not Tony Stewart. It's a good guess, though.
Yeah, that would be the obvious choice that you'd pick off the top of your head, but it's not him.
It's not Tony Stewart. Alex Miller has come to pit lane. Christopher has also chosen to come in, as has Mason Mitchum. So the pit stops have started here at Phoenix for the Horizon IndyCar Series. We are 110 of 150. Micah Mixer, Matt Wagner, Yari Brubaker, now your top three. Now they can go a little bit longer because they last stopped under caution, although here comes Micah Mixer. So he is not going to take advantage of the overcut. He is going to bring it to pit lane. It is not Takuma Sato. Takuma Sato does not own parking space number labeled 20 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I'll give you a second hint. It is the parking. I said it was near the pagoda, didn't I, Ryan?
Yep.
It is the parking space closest to the pagoda. We need to get the Jeopardy music out, Ryan. Matt Wagner has gone to the lead now. Jari Brubaker is second. Critically for Mason Mitchum, he has gone 2 laps down to that man, Matt Wagner. And so that could be a story as well. Some of these guys on pit lane, they're losing 2 laps to do this. Wags comes through again. He did not put Christopher 2 laps down, but they are close to 2 down. And here comes Wagner. Jari Brubaker is there, and he's got Hugo Galez right behind him. And these guys, you got to figure, Brubaker, Galez, Lovern, they're looking for a caution. Matt Wagner spins on pit lane.
Oh, no.
Matty Wagner has spun on pit lane, and here's what's happened to Matt. He's trying to hustle the car to get it into the pits, and too much rear brake, and around she goes, Ryan. Just missed Joseph Morales, too.
Yeah, that's what happens when, you see the cones coming up and you just want to slam on the brakes to get to the pit limit, but, oh.
So the answer, of course, is Roger Penske for having won the race 20 times as a car owner. He also owns the facility, but the executive row there is interesting because it's the initials in descending order of rank, right? The further away you get from the pagoda, and then the one closest to the pagoda just says 20. Also interesting to note that Doug Bowles is not near the top of that pecking order, right?
Yeah. I feel like it's a personal choice on his part to not park near the pagoda. He wants to walk the facility grounds.
It's 4 parking spaces.
It's a lot of territory.
It is indeed, but that's a pretty cool thing. If you're ever at the Speedway, just go look at the parking spots. Yes, Indy, he does change the yes, he does change it every time he wins. When he bought it, it was 18. But that's a cool exhibit in the Speedway. Watching Jari Brubaker to see when he's going to come. We are 30 laps to the end here at Phoenix in what would be properly titled the Jimmy Bryan 150 for the Horizon IndyCar Series. Jari Brubaker has not stopped. Hugo Galez has not stopped. Gary Lover, Nate Fields, they have not stopped. And you just have to believe, Ryan, that they are looking for that. They're looking for a caution.
Yeah, to get effectively a free pit stop, but unfortunately, gotta give up hope at some point. You can't run it empty.
Another interesting bit of trivia: Doug Bowles is the owner of Indianapolis Motor Speedway plate number 1. I also have Speedway plates on my car, Ryan, but not number. My number is not 1.
Yeah, it is
much higher than that.
It would be hard to get off of them.
My plate number is much higher than that. It's you can look it up. It's HF, which I have a Hall of Fame plate, which is uncommon. Jari Brubaker has brought his car into the pit lane. He will now be the last to stop, and that's going to turn the lead back over to this man. Micah Mixer made it past Alex Miller in the pit stop exchange. Jari Brubaker speeds on pit road, and so he'll get the 40-second stop and hold. Too fast, interesting. So Mixer is going to be the leader. Alex Miller is going to slide into second, and Chris Stouffer will be third once the cycle goes through. There are no real battles close on the racetrack until you get back to Andrew Serwak in 8th and Jeff Heisong in 9th. They've got Hugo Galez a little bit further behind them in 10th. But yeah, I don't have plate number 1. I do have a Hall of Fame plate, which is fairly rare, Ryan. They quit giving those out about 20 years ago. So I do have a Hall of Fame plate number, but it is 4449. is the number on my license plate. Which is a cool bit of trivia itself. It is the closest number that you're allowed to get that is to 4,500, because they don't allow fives in those plate numbers for obvious reasons.
Because it would be it would be
pricey.
A pricey endeavor, especially whoever gets 500.
Right. So mine is the closest one you can get to 4,500. I didn't pick it. It just worked out that way that I got one of the last Hall of Fame plates. And I've had that since I was 18, so 25 years. It's been a long time, Ryan. Jeff Hysong goes under Yari Brubaker. Hugo Gallas has gotten by Hysong. Hysong got a little bit caught up in traffic there, so move Hugo to 8th. Andrew Surwack is 7th. But it's all about Micah Mixer right now. He is behind Mark Cohn, looking to put the Watchman a lap down. And we are approaching 20 laps to go, Ryan.
20 to go. It is closing time.
It most certainly is. Micah Mixer is closing. Mason Mitchum has gotten around Matt Wagner, so move Mitchum to 5th. Wags back to 6th, but it is a long ways, 4.8 seconds up to Louis Busa, who has staked a claim to 4th spot. These two are doing battle. Wagner's going to want to try to get back by Mitchum, and he does have the fresher tires by about 5 laps, so we'll keep an eye on this one. By far the closest battle on the racing surface. Here's another one that Indy Kirkenbauer would be interested to know. And Ryan knows this too. So at Indianapolis, the Pagoda is sponsored by Tag Heuer, right?
Yep.
The details that Tag Heuer has put into that place are amazing. If you go into the press box, right, the famous press room at the top next to the suites along the main straightaway, there are very large Tag Heuer watch faces, and I'm told they are actually tags internally that give the time in about 8 different time zones. Ryan has seen those. He's a member of the
I
press.
had no idea there were like real timepiece internals.
Yeah, they are essentially extremely large Tag F1s, but they are actually Tag Heuer watches. I was told that. I get to go up there on a tour. We also got to go into Roger Penske's suite, which is unbelievably nice. It is one of the few places you can see every nook and crevice of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, 6 floors up in the Pagoda. Wagner just can't navigate around Mason Mitchum. He's been trying to get that spot back for a while. Mitchum up into the wall, and Wagner almost has to take evasive action.
Oh.
But he's on the bottom, and that is not the preferred way around. Now, what Wags needs to do is slide up. He was clear in the briefest of moments, but he did not take advantage to clear himself, and that's allowed Hugo Gallas to get in this fight. Now, finally, Wags is going to clear Mitchum, but here comes Hugo Gallas. And Gallas is going to get the preferred line now around the top on Mitchum. I think Mitchum has overheated the tires. Gallas, by the way, is on the freshest rubber of anybody up here. He and Gary Lovern, along with Nate Fields, they stopped just 15 laps ago. And Gallas into Matt Wagner. Wagner spins.
All right, man.
Oh,
Caution is
no.
out. Caution is out.
You could almost see that coming, Ryan.
Yeah, it's
Just the slightest right front to left rear. Wags does not hit it hard. Mitchum contact from Surwack. Secondary impact for Wagner. Neither one of those cars is severely damaged. They'll be able to come back and get the fast repair, of course. Mitchum is already on pit lane. Well, matter of fact, I think Mitchum towed. Wagner is going to have to come. Wagner might be done. He's actually already used his fast repair from his earlier spin on pit lane. And so there comes Wagner. If he can't fix this, and let's see if we can get on the roll bar. The wheel's still straight, Ryan. I don't see anything vibrating. I think he might be okay.
Yeah, I think it could have been far worse. It could have been far worse.
Yeah, I think Matty Wags is going to get away with just a new front wing here and get back out onto the pit and get back out onto the racing surface. There you see the Horizon IndyCar Series machine, Blackmagic Studios on the side, Wags in script under the cockpit. Although there may be a little bit more damage than we can see because he is still stationary now, 32 seconds. So could be a broken suspension piece in there. Micah Mixer is your leader, and there he is. That's going to line up Hugo Gallas in second on that fresh rubber right behind him. It is worth noting Alex Miller, Chris Stouffer, Louis Busa, and Jeff Heisong all came to the pit lane and got new tires, as did Mark Cohn, Joseph Morales. Wagner sits on pit lane. Yari with the meatball, Yari Brubaker, 2 laps down. He is on pit lane as well. This is going to get interesting. 10 laps to go, Ryan. Do want to thank everybody for tuning in here to the Horizon IndyCar Series. You've got Murph, along with the man, the myth, the legend, the wreck, Ryan Eric King, on loan from jalopnik.com. If you haven't already done it, make sure you smash the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the P1 Broadcasting channel, be notified of all future iRacing events like this one. Immediately following this, we'll switch you over. We'll get you to the last half of the Formula Indy Series as Micah Mixer goes really early, Ryan, and he snookered Hugo Gallas. Micah Mixer is going to jump out to about a 0.6 of a second lead here at Phoenix as we get down to 9 laps to go.
Yeah, it's like, especially with less than 10 laps to go, getting a big jump early is going to be really important to get some form of cushion, but Gallas is coming back.
Yeah, Hugo's got the fresh tires, and it may not be possible to hold him back there with the 10-lap fresher tires. Also worth noting that fast start by Mixer, it created a huge gap back to Alex Miller. Miller has not been able to pounce on Nate Fields, Gary Lover, and Andrew Serwak with the fresh rubber, and so Miller, Stouffer, Busa, those are fast cars with new tires, Ryan. But they may be too far back here. We get 7 laps to go, and Hugo Gallas is in range now.
Yeah, we're going to get a 6-lap shootout for the win here.
Now, each lap that goes by, the better this gets for Micah Mixer. But Hugo Gallas just too much. He's going to go to the inside, and they are going to get real tight coming off of turn number 2. A little bit of wheel banging going down the front straight. Now, Mixer is going to want to pinch Hugo as far down as possible, and he does not want to give up that high line, does he, Ryan?
No, it's the way to keep your momentum up, your speed high, really be a nuisance, and hold on to the lead.
Yeah, you want to stay up there. You do not want to let Hugo Gallas get clear of you, but if you can keep him down there, you can pinch him off, and he's not able to use the better tires. This is the battle for the lead. Meanwhile, Louis Busa has made it through a mess, and we've got cars in the wall. Alex Miller spinning, and we're going to have another caution here with 3 laps to go, and this will end the race. Hugo Gallas, did he get past Micah Mixer? How are we going to score this? We went back to look at the crash, and we will. I think they're going to give it to Mixer. And this
I
is...
think they're going to give the win to Mixer.
We're going to give the win to Micah Mixer. So, we have several things that we're going to want to look at. The first is going to be off of the roll bar of Hugo Gallas. And there's Hugo. He is hunting the lead on Micah Mixer. And you got to kind of keep an eagle eye out, Ryan, for the yellow lights. We're going to see him on the dash of Hugo Gallows' car, when the yellow comes out, you'll also see the yellow lights in the fence. The cactus also turns yellow, doesn't it?
Yes.
So all sorts of yellow things will happen when it goes yellow, but Hugo Gallows was in the process of making the pass for the lead. There he goes on Mixer. Still not yellow. There it went. So it's going to be right here, Ryan. That's pretty close because it goes back to the last scoring loop, right?
It goes back to the last loop, but you know, with the speed of these cars, you go through the loops pretty quickly, so you could pretty much nearly be certain the leader at the time of caution will be the winner.
That's awfully close. It depends on where the last scoring loop, but that's as close as we can get it to the moment of caution. Meanwhile, we do need to go back and see what happened to Alex Miller. And so the racing back here was furious. Alex Miller has already lost his front wing. Christopher gets into the back of Nate Fields, and it's hard to tell really what I didn't really get a good look at what happened to Alex Miller there. Just a lack of front downforce with a broken wing. I don't think anybody gets, well, Christopher's going to finish him off, but he had been in the wall before that, and so that's the cause of the caution. The winner is going to be Micah Mixer, Hugo Gallows. That is a tough break for Hugo. Had the yellow not come out for another 10 yards, Hugo Gallows is going to be your winner.
Just unfortunate luck.
Most certainly is. Micah Mixer the winner. Gallows second. Andrew Surowac is third as Barney waves the checkered flag here at Phoenix. And here is your finishing field. The winner, Micah Mixer. Hugo Gallows second. Andrew Surowac is going to come home third. Gary Lovern fourth. Louis Busa round out your top five. In sixth, Nate Fields, then Jeff Heisong, Christopher, Mark Cohn, and Joseph Morales. They will round out the top 10. Nice run for Joseph Morales, by the way, to come home 10th. Yari Brubaker is going to be 11th. Alex Miller finishes 12th. After a fine run, he leads the most laps. Matt Wagner is 13th. Mason Mitchum brings it home in 14th. Tough break for Mitchum, too. He had a fine day going as well, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of drivers had strong days, and we didn't see that many cautions. Besides the one near halfway and the 110 in the race, seemingly we were fairly clean today, which is a rarity for Phoenix.
Yeah, this race went by very quickly, just almost exactly an hour and 5 minutes. Very, very fast. That's the reason they don't run 150 laps anymore. The race would be over. It could be over in an hour. But there's Andrew Surwac's machine, and we are going to go ahead and bring him into the waiting room, and we'll give him a couple of moments to clear his head and bring him on up. Andrew Surwac, you've got Murph, you've got Ryan Eric King in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
It was an eventful day for you. You found the wall at one point, got your fast repair, drove it back up through the field. Was it a matter of them guys pitting in front of you, and you got track position, and then the fast restart at the end? They couldn't get back to you.
Yeah, I think after that last stop, I was like, well, you know what? I got myself back in the top 10. I'll take it. I'll just save tires here. Maybe I can catch some guys here at the end. And then we got the yellow, and I was like, I didn't even realize that we could go in the pits, and I was just like, well, I made my bed now. Just gotta fight like hell to keep this spot, and ended up with the podium.
And a fine drive it was, Ryan.
Yeah, how was the conditions out on track today? Like, it seemingly the drivers who knew how to be fast were fast, but it felt a bit more on throttle than we're used to at Phoenix.
Yeah, the track started out really hot in the first third of that race, and then kind of just in the middle stint, it started getting cooler and cooler. And then by the time we got to the last round of green flag stops, it dropped about 10 degrees. So you were able to hang it around the outside, flat out in 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4 you were basically just having a slight lift, and that was about it. So it got really hard to pass as it got cooler. But ultimately, I think just the conditions were ever changing throughout the race, so you just had to stay on top of it with the tools.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You were definitely able to stay on top of it with the tools. You were able to bring it home on the podium, Andrew. And with the podium comes the mic. Friends, family, sponsors, shout outs. The floor is yours.
Just a shout out to my wife, Emily. She calls me a nerd for doing this, but it is what it is. But yeah, it's about time I get on the podium here, man. It comes so close so many times and just never quite put the runs together. So just real happy about that. Fortune's finally turning around a little bit.
Absolutely. Well, great run for you today, Andrew. We'll drop you back in Wags' chat. Keep going fast and having fun, buddy.
Yep, you guys have a good one. Thank you.
Yes, sir. That is Andrew Surwack. He brings it home third. For second place, and it's got to be Hugo. It's got to be a tough pill to swallow. You've got Murph. You've got Ryan Eric King in the P1 broadcasting booth. That was close, my friend. You were actually, as far as we can tell, slightly ahead at the moment of caution. As you know, it goes back to the prior. Scoring loop, and so it gave you second. But it was either a dead heat or pretty or you were slightly ahead when the yellow lights came on the dash.
No, yeah, but my mind is in the sorry. Good night, Matt, Mark, and Ryan. And first, my apologize to Matt because it was my foul, 100%. It's very embarrassing for me, as I consider Matt a friend. But for me, it's very good the P2, but there is this situation that I don't like, but I take the points, but the situation I don't like.
It happens.
Yeah,
clearly,
completely understandable.
Yeah, I was going to say it happens, Hugo. We know everybody that's been around you for more than 30 seconds knows you're a clean guy. So it happens. Ryan, what do you have for Hugo Gallas? Just one more step, buddy.
Yeah, what was that the last couple laps like? 'Cause it seemed like you were on the better tires. You were really, closing the gap to Mika, but it's just the caution came out at an unfortunate time.
Honestly, I don't know what happened with my car in the last stint. Because I tried the same in if you compare my first 120 laps, but in the last stint my car was really fast. For this reason, I think the incident with Matt, probably I needed more think of the situation. Sorry, my English, but but the car in the last stint was really, really fast. I don't know what happened with my drive. The car, I don't know, but I take the points, but I don't feel good with this situation. Well, sorry, guys.
It's okay.
No, I mean, like I said, Hugo, everybody that's been around you for any length of time knows that you're a clean racer and a stand up guy, and I'm sure Wags understands. Not intentional for sure.
I hope so.
But thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for all your participation. Your former teammate of mine. It was always a joy to race with you. With the podium come the spoils. You get the mic. Friends, family, sponsor, shout outs. The floor is yours, Hugo.
Well, thanks for your words, Mark. And no, to my girlfriend, my son, the team, body team, Gary Mason, today with me in Discord. Sorry, Matt, again, please. And no, my friend, my family. Thanks, Mark, Ryan, for your job. Really good job as always. And that's all. See you in the other race, guys.
Awesome. We'll see you. We'll see you at the next one, Hugo. Keep going fast and having fun, buddy.
Thank you. Bye.
Yes, sir. That is Hugo Gallas. He is the runner-up today to this man, Micah Mixer. Micah, you've got Murph. You've got Ryan Eric King in the P1 broadcasting booth. That was close.
Yeah, a little bit too close for comfort.
So he was coming. He had 10-lap fresher tires. Hugo was definitely coming on you. What was your strategy to be able to hold him off? Obviously, the quick restart, but then what were you trying to do to keep him at bay once he closed the gap?
Pretty much just drive it as fast as I could, and then don't let him really clear me at that point. So that's why I was just ripping the high line for most of the final stint.
There you go. Got to do what you got to do. Ryan, what do you have for tonight's winner?
And I'm still at a bit of a loss for words over the finish. Like, how do you think the last laps would have played out if the caution didn't come out?
I think I was holding him. I don't think he was like getting in front of me at the line, so I think I could have held him off. But it was definitely a lot closer than I had for most of the race. Because I was expecting to just pull, and that did not happen.
Yeah, unfortunately, you just didn't. Fortunately for you, you just had the lead at the precise moment you needed to have it.
Yeah. I checked it right before I left the sim, and it was an end plate length at the time of caution.
Yeah, I was going to say, we had Hugo slightly in front when the yellow light came on the dash, but it goes back to the previous scoring loop. So he had only just gone ahead, and I don't know where the last loop is, but either way, you're credited with the win. At least you're credited with the win officially, and that's what matters. You're going to get a nice handy haul of points as well for the championship. Alex Miller has a bad day, one of a rare bad day for him. And so you, Hugo, Gary Lovern, all close up in the points. And so the big thing is, though, since you won the race, you get the mic. Friends, family, sponsors, shout-outs. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I win. And literally, this is the first ever race that I've done at Phoenix in IndyCar. So I am shocked that I had the pace. But yeah, you can go follow me on Instagram at Stiggy, 5TIGGY. I want to thank Major Z Sports and Luis Nunez for helping me out the past few weeks after I joined their team. We got a scheme in the works at the moment. But yeah, good race, good week.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Micah. for joining us. Keep going fast, having fun, buddy, and we will see you at the next one.
All right. Thank you. See you later.
Absolutely. That is Micah Mixer. He is your winner tonight. And Ryan, it never fails, right? As much as I thought that was going to turn into kind of a processional affair, and maybe not be so much of an exciting race. You get a yellow, you get some very tire strategies at the end, and it turned into a dandy, didn't it?
Yeah, it's seemingly every single week we come together to do these races. We get our expectations subverted.
We most certainly do, and tonight was no exception. And if you like this, you're going to love what we've got planned here on P1 over the next week. And so, Ryan, tomorrow I will be in the booth for the Blackmagic Studios Grand National Series at Talladega. That's an 8:20 start. But Jacob Collins is going to have a treat for everybody. It is going to be the IndyCar Thrustmaster Qualifying Series second split. That's going to be at 8 Eastern, and that's going to be from Long Beach. And so, is it already Pro Series qualifying time, Ryan?
Yes, it is.
It is indeed. So the Blackmagic Studios Grand National Series and the Thrustmaster Qualifying Series second split. Those are going to be tomorrow on the AMA side. Friday night, it is the Blackmagic Studios 220 from Talladega. That is in the Truck Series. Saturday, mercifully, Gary and I and Jacob are all taking the day off. Sunday night, it's the Votive Indy Oval Series from the Milwaukee Mile, again, 8 o'clock. Monday night, the Indy Open Series at 8. The Onyx Open Wheel Series at 9:05. They're going in Lotus 79s from Laguna Seca. And the nightcap, the Indy Next Series at the Red Bull Ring, 10 o'clock Eastern. Tuesday night, it's the big one, Ryan. The flagship broadcast, 8:15. They're going to Indianapolis. And that's going to be followed by the Indy Next Oval Series at Nashville at 9:30. That'll bring us right back to next Wednesday. The Horizon IndyCar Series is off, but the Formula Indy Series will head to Homestead. That's at 8:20 Eastern. Do want to thank everybody who joined in the fun tonight. It's always a pleasure. If you haven't already done it, make sure you smash the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel. And as always, we want to thank not only the competitors and the fans, but we also want to thank the people that really make it possible, Ryan. The policemen, the firemen, the EMTs driving the ambulance, and the nurse that unloads you when you get there. Thank you so much for all you do. From the bottom of our hearts, we salute you. Rec, that's a wrap, buddy.
Yep.
Good night, everybody.